Hello, I am Lydia. Isn't there something, oh, sorry. It's my coffee making that noise. I'll set it down in a second. I need a sip. Okay, I'll set it down. I didn't realize it was gonna be so noisy. Just right in front of the camera. Oh, that's funny. Also, you got to see the little coffee splotches. That was weird. Okay, it's set down. I look a little beachy today, which I'm very into. I'm getting used to the short hair life since cutting my extremely long hair. Anyway, that's not the point of today's video. Today's video is actually going to be about how I began teaching myself how to exist in the physical world better or kind of strengthening my place in the physical world, because I am a person who struggles and has throughout my life actually struggled with the physical world. And actually, I shouldn't phrase it that way. I no longer struggle with the physical world. I don't want to put that out into the world saying that I still struggle with it. You know, I just don't think I should even put that on myself to say that I'm continuing to struggle, because in reality, I am growing and I have gotten a lot better, and I should be careful about what I say and the words that I say. And it's interesting because I wholeheartedly believe that we should be focusing on what we say and the choice of words that we use, and not saying I and then something negative, and always being very careful about what we say after the word I or I am, or the words, because our brain believes that. Our brain believes that and holds it to be true, and the world believes that and hears that and makes it concrete. And we don't want that. We don't want it to be solidified every time we say that. So I say I did struggle in the physical world. And out of all of the senses that we experience the world through, not our actual five senses, but the senses that we experience the world through, whether that be the spiritual realm, the mental realm, the emotional realm, and the physical realm. The physical realm has historically been a challenge for me. And let me explain what I mean by that. How was it a challenge for me? How was it a challenge for maybe you? For me, growing up, I was often called clumsy, which I choose not to allow that word to be a part of my vocabulary. I don't like to ascribe that negative word to anybody, and I especially don't ascribe that word to myself. I am not clumsy, although other people have said in the past and maybe believe that I was growing up. And also with that, what else? I would trip and fall frequently. And then it created this fear of trying new things, of trying to climb a tree and explore the physical realm, like other kids might have. I was very apprehensive to do any of that, because putting myself in danger or other people in danger was extremely scary to me, and I didn't want to perpetuate the things that people had already said about me and ascribed to me. So I chose to kick back. I was the kid who daydreamed. I was the kid who looked at, the birds floating by. I was the friend who wanted to chit chat. Let's, like, recess, you know what I mean? Recess, we're all on a playground, right? I was the kid walking around with my friend. Not like, I liked the swings, but not while other people were on it, because no. Like, you know what I mean? Not while other people were next to me, because kids are a little crazy when they're having fun. And I was like, no, let me just go take a little stroll with my friend around the playground, and we'll chit chat and we'll talk about life or our interests. You know what I mean? And I loved that, connecting with a person and not really paying attention, not really having to pay attention to necessarily where we were going, just around, and just making sure that I was out of the way of getting hurt. That was a big focal point for me. I have trauma from kickball. You know what I mean? I think we all have a little bit of kickball trauma. The fear of getting hit in the head with a kickball is pretty, you only experience that. You only have to experience that once to realize it's not fun. And so I was that kid already growing up, and I really didn't use that part of me. I didn't use and exercise that part of me that could or would explore, I would say, the spiritual realm and the mental realm were far more interesting to me than any of the other realms. And it wasn't even till later in life that I even started exploring the emotional realm and appreciating that, because even the emotional realm was not my favorite. We all have feelings, and we all and I would say, I don't want to call myself an empath, but I would say I have strong empathy, and so the emotional realm, I would feel everything deeply, but I didn't want to be swept away by emotions. There was a point in my life where I thought, well, crime's pointless. Let's try to come up with a solution and move on. Like, I need to, I need to not cry. So even that was a little untapped into, a little unexplored, if you will. Since then, I have really explored the emotional realm, and I find so much beauty in it and value in it, and even fun in the emotional realm. So there is that. But how did I start strengthening my physical realm? How did I start strengthening that? And mind you, I'm still a newbie at it. But I'm much better than I used to be. And I think a big helper of that is learning how to be present in the moment. Somatic breathing, triangle breathing. I do triangle breathing now frequently, and that has helped me. Where you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds. Okay, so breathe in, hold, breathe out, breathe in, and it creates a triangle. And that helps a lot. But then I've also heard from a woman I follow online who is a therapist that if we look at our breathing as moving forward versus pumping the brakes, that is a big helper with our breathing, because I think, the triangle breathing is fantastic. It really helps you understand breathing. But after a while, you kind of get used to it. And sometimes in certain moments, it's not exactly what you need. I think overall, that has helped me and that has been useful for the majority of situations. But sometimes, like when I'm having, let's say, a panic attack, I really need the breaks. I mentally and emotionally and spiritually need the brakes being pumped. And so what I do is work physically by, okay, I'll breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and then take a little bit longer breathing out, because those are the brakes. The breathing out is pumping the brakes, breathing in is going. And so sometimes, on the reverse side, if I feel stuck in life, and I just feel like I'm repeating the same patterns, and I'm like, how do I get out of this? Okay, take a little bit longer breathing in. And so when you start the triangle, you breathe in for a little bit longer, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, breathe in for a little bit longer. And so that has been useful too. Also making sure that we're very present in the physical realm by being observant. I never remember the exact way to do this, but therapists also suggest sometimes doing the 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can smell, I think, or touch. I don't remember the code. Maybe it's 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. But it's really getting yourself in the mind frame of being present. Where am I physically in this moment? What can I see? What can I hear? What can I smell? What can I touch? What can I taste? And making sure that you're spending enough time in that moment, because I think it's easy to just point out, like, okay, yeah, I see this, I hear this, whatever. But really spending time to point out a few things can really slow you down and help you be more present. So those things have helped for me personally. But what else has helped is, well, I've been noticing as I've been tapping into my inner child that things that used to be not interesting to me as a child have become more interesting to me. Especially since I've allowed myself to really tap into my inner child and really make friends with, that part of me that as an adult I've closed off. Revisiting the things that I visited as a kid, and then allowing myself to sort of explore other things that I felt I wasn't allowed to as a kid, or maybe shut off for myself as a kid, or was uninterested as a kid. It's like finding a new childhood in a sense. That has been really helpful, and I've noticed that a lot of the fidgety things that I didn't like as a kid, I am interested in as an adult. I showed these in another video that I filmed, but I've got like fidgety sort of trinkety toys. Oh, that's a fall. Okay. So like, you can of course buy fidget toys. That I'm sure those help. I have yet to try them, because when I was starting to collect things, I think Poppets were out, but I don't think I really knew what they were. Like, I was kind of like, is that helpful? I don't know. Like, I really wasn't in the know of if those are helpful or what's the deal with those. And I knew fidget spinners were a thing, but I was kind of like, I don't know if I would be interested in a fidget spinner. You know what I mean? So I found this the other day, and this is like a case in point, like how things that I liked as a child, or things that I didn't like as a child, are things that I like today. Like, this is something that I enjoy today. This is a total fidgety sort of a toy. McDonald's toy, I think. Daisy flying over Epcot, and she's just, it's a lot of like fun. It's like a trinkety sort of gadgety little toy. And I found that I found this, and like I literally was like, this is pretty fun actually. Why not? This is totally something as a kid I wouldn't have enjoyed because I was a plush toy girl. I liked being slow, being quiet, everything peaceful. This was not peaceful, this was hard, you know? It's like, I didn't understand the appeal of this, but it's like now, there are several different physical realm things happening here. I'm watching, and I'm doing two things right here. And even if you're not watching, it's training you to be skilled at doing without watching, without using all of your senses, which is another great thing to express in the physical world. This is another thing. This is like a McDonald's or Burger King or something like that toy. I don't know. But it's like, he's one of those things that like goes across the floor, and then this thing is supposed to spin. It's Mater from Cars. Kind of cute. Totally something I would have hated as a kid. I would have been like, okay, it's cool. And he goes, and it's like just a little trinkety little sort of a toy. Other things that I have enjoyed is doing things in the physical world like hiking, and if you want to try a sport, maybe try a sport or something that gets you physically moving and taking up space, because I think another fear of mine was taking up space. I will tell you, I don't know if any of you guys will relate to this out here, but my detachment to the physical world has felt so skewed to where, you know, when I was out hiking, a tree, you know, sometimes there's like tree branches that cross over the path and you're like, cool. And when I duck, typically when I duck over or under things, I duck an excessive amount just to make sure that I'm really avoiding the tree. And, you know, like I'll be pretty much like a ridiculous amount away from the tree. Sometimes the tree will be like way higher than me, and I still kind of feel the need to duck because the physical world, everything feels just a little off to me, you know, typically. Spatial awareness has always been not my strong suit, typically. Cooking. See, this is another thing is, try cooking yourself up something a little different that maybe you're not just running off of, you know, autopilot. And if you're afraid of burning yourself like I was, heat, flames, anything, caution, like a lot of fear there. Okay, I now keep Manuka honey next to where I'm cooking at all times. It is an emergency Manuka honey, but I believe any Manuka honey would pretty much work. And let me tell you, some people don't like to believe in the natural remedies. All I gotta say is, again, another incident that has happened because of my weakened physical awareness in the past is that I have indeed grabbed straight from an oven. Trigger warning, maybe skip ahead like 2 minutes, just to be careful, just to be cautious. Barehanded from the oven, a plate or a pan. I did not get burns. I didn't even have a scratch on me because immediately I just squeezed the bottle on my hands of Manuka honey and waited for a minute, and then I washed it off. And it was pretty amazing because I should have burned myself. Like, I should have, but I did not because of the honey. So, I mean, I don't know, if you've got other stuff that works for you, that's great, but for the people who knock all the herbal stuff, let me tell you, Manuka honey is pretty darn incredible. I mean, I guess if you're into natural stuff, you probably already kind of vibe with everything that I've said so far, a lot of the stuff that I've said so far. If you don't like the natural side of life, then you probably think a lot of what I just said was kooky, so whatever. But, you know, that just really helped me a lot. And so I always keep that there, just so I know that yes, okay, if I do get hurt, there is always aid. You know what I mean? Like, it isn't that big of a deal. So, just another thing. And I knew the pan was hot, okay? Like, I knew. It just happens when the physical world is a little difficult. What else? Other things that I have purchased have been a Bop It. I purchased a Bop It. And that's pretty cool that I purchased one, because I should have kept mine that I had when I was young. But I didn't use it when I was young is the thing. So I just got, I got rid of it when I was young. When I was a kid. I didn't really use it. It was something like my cousin used. My brother would play with the Bop It until they didn't, But to me, I was like, okay, like I was never really good at the Bop It. But as I've tapped into my inner child a little bit more, and I've been more interested in the physical world, things like that have become more interesting to me. Like, hey, why don't I buy a Bop It? You know what I mean? If you want to buy a Bop It, I hope you can find a Bop It, because sometimes it can be pricey, but then sometimes they're not at all. So, good luck. But, you know what I mean? Taking up space. Taking up space. Another thing is when I'm out hiking, because hiking is my favorite pastime. If it's not yours, and that's okay, but maybe you'll find a different pastime. For me, I take a walking stick a lot of the time when I'm hiking, because it also helps me take up more space around me. It can help me do something while I'm hiking. And also, my hiking stick is made of wood, so it helps me ground, especially if I'm not wearing like moccasins or some sort of grounding shoes. So it's great. It's like an all-purpose sort of a thing. And it helps. You know what I mean? I think all of that kind of helps bring back childhood wonder in a way. I think a lot of this stems from childhood, bringing back childhood wonder. The physical world. What else? What else? The Bop It has helped. The Bop It has helped. Little games, little physical world games. I mean, if you want to buy a Skip It, buy a Skip It. You know what I mean? Those things that you could put your foot through it and then you skip over a ball. A jump rope. Jump rope. Buy a jump rope. A hula hoop. that is one thing that I would like to do, but I don't know where to hula hoop. Where do I hula hoop? Any park, I guess. Ride your bike more, I guess. You know? But try not to do things that are going to pressure you, you know? Because if you feel pressured, you know, this is what kind of the great thing about having like a Bop It is because, like, oh, I see it in the corner of my room. Pick it up, play the Bop It for 5 seconds, and then put it down. You know, it's not really something that I have to, like, plan out doing. And it's kind of great. Another thing that I've got is a kalimba. I love it. I did learn a song, but I don't know if I can remember it on camera. Oh boy. What did I learn? Oh, I learned the chords for Bubblegum by KK Slider from Animal Crossing. Though the guitar tabs for it online were very short, and I don't think they even played the whole song, but they played the iconic like chorus part. So I learned that, but now I'm like, did I learn it? Because I think I forgot it. And I also did learn Still Cupcakes from KK Slider from Animal Crossing, if you didn't know. Which I love Still Cupcakes. It's such a cute song. And that one is tricky. They have the guitar tabs and it's great. But it took me a bit to learn that one, and I don't even know if I remember that now. It'd come to me if I could look it up, but I'm not going to. Either way, they sound beautiful. A kalimba is an instrument, if I didn't explain it. This is mine. They're beautiful. And they sound kind of like a music box. Pretty cool. And I collect music boxes, so I love that sound. I really do. Like church bells, music boxes, I love those type of sounds. Oh, I also have an ocarina. Somewhere. I have an ocarina, a strawberry ocarina, which is sort of like a whistle, but they are shaped a certain way. Like they're like rounded typically or long. They're not like a flute. You know, they're more like a whistle, I guess. But they sound very pretty if you're very good at them, which I'm not yet. But these things started to become very interesting to me. And even watching people do things in the physical world and paying attention to the fact that they're doing things in the physical world. I talked a little bit about this in another video that I filmed about your inner child. A lot of this stuff I've talked about in there, but not all of it. And I did a little show and tell there too. A lot of my videos have been show and telly lately. But I used to, growing up, dislike camping and all of that stuff. And as I've been more interested in the physical world and really enjoying every single element that there is to experience, like, okay, I delved into the emotional element to life. There's even parts of my life where I've really felt the need to dive into the knowledge element of life and loving knowledge and the spiritual element of life. I love spending time thinking about that. And so to have an element of life left out and to have it so weak in comparison to my other abilities, it just really felt off-putting, and I didn't want to leave this huge part of the human existence out. I really wanted to experience what it's like to be a part of the physical world, and still, oftentimes, it is a challenge for me. Especially being neurodivergent, and I typically am inclined to have high anxiety. So, it's still something I'm working through, but these are some of the things that I've done to at least spark that curiosity and that excitement about the physical world. I've watched a lot of people doing things like camping and like building things. Like, okay, they're like actually building things. I also painting and writing and art are all wonderful things as well, but for me a lot of that didn't necessarily give me that physical world experience, especially writing. Writing for me is largely mental, and I guess you can tell by my handwriting, if you would ever see it, that's something I would like to work on. But maybe that's something to focus on, is actually the handwriting aspect of it, the physical aspect of writing rather than the mental aspect of creating a story through writing. I think largely a lot of my art feels more mental and spiritual and emotional than it ever does physical, oddly enough. Yet, I have bought some clay, Crayola clay. It's not that expensive, and made a few things with that. I probably could use a little bit more, but I feel like that's a really good way to delve into art, but also into something that is more physical. This is something I made, but he's not perfect. He actually, I've tried fixing him so many times, and I'm not a master at the clay. I'm really not. I made something else, and it just crumbled to oblivion, and that's okay. And this guy I have fixed a couple of different times, and he still cracks. His feet are gone. I'm sorry, but his feet are gone. But he is kind of interesting. He's like a little goblin or a little dragon. He's meant to sit, and his feet were where these two holes are. Sorry. But he's kind of, I was really, really proud of the nose and the eyes, but he does have quite a bit of cracking. So I don't, but it's not about being good at it. It's literally about working in the physical realm and doing rather than thinking. And that's great. And there's a lot to be learned about the physical realm that we live in. So I think that is about it. I think that is. Anyway, I hope that helped. Those are just some of my tips. Maybe if you have any other great tips, maybe you excel in the physical realm. Maybe the physical realm is your best friend. Maybe. And if so, let me know. Or if you have been strengthening your physical capabilities, share down below some of your tips. What do you do to strengthen that and excel in the physical realm? Let us know.